This broccoli is great, so I make it 5 days a week. It's simple, quick, and my entire family loves it. Start by chopping a head of broccoli into small, bite-sized pieces. In the meantime, go on and click subscribe so you do not miss any of my homey everyday recipes. Now add some water to a pan, a pinch of salt, and bring to a boil. Add the broccoli and stir for just 2 minutes. That is all the time it takes to soften it without sacrificing the flavor or the nutrients. Broccoli is one of those rare vegetables. Healthy, fiber-filled, quick and easy to prepare, and everyone asks for seconds. That's the ultimate signal for me to prepare it again and again. While the broccoli is boiling, you can go ahead and peel the potatoes. I'm using about 500 grams today. Cut them into pieces of medium size. Not too tiny, or they'll disintegrate when you boil them. Do you normally cook with ordinary potatoes or sweet potatoes? I switch between them based on what we have at home. The broccoli is ready. Take it out of the water and place it into a glass baking dish to cool slightly while we finish the rest. I just love that bright green color. It always makes the dish so fresh. And if you don't have broccoli, no worries. Cauliflower works just as well. I use it when I want to change things up. Into the water, we will add some salt. Just enough to bring out the natural flavor of the potatoes. I always season the water first. Then we add in the chopped potatoes carefully. There is no rush. Let them get settled in and start soaking up that plain, homely flavor. Then add in 2 bay leaves and a bit of peppercorns. It's a small thing, but it gives such wonderful depth to the potatoes, just like my grandma made. And if you're enjoying this so far, give it a small like. It helps the channel and informs me you want to see more cozy recipes such as this. By the way, I've been using these Japanese knives from Tasky lately. They're amazing, super sharp, beautiful, and feel great in the hand. You'll find the link and my discount code in the description. The potatoes are cooked, just fork tender. Take them out of the water and let them cool somewhat. We'll return to them in a moment. Now take 1 red onion and slice it up thin. I know onions are a tearjerker, right? I always tell my kids it's the only food that cries before you eat it. But a little onion goes a long way. It adds a rich, umami foundation to the dish that offsets the creaminess later on. And while we're here chopping away, tell me, where are you watching from? I love seeing all the different places you tune in from. Put a drizzle of olive oil in a pan and heat over medium. If you don't have olive oil, no problem. Just use whichever neutral oil you have on hand. Even a bit of butter is fine if you're not dairy-free. Now, toss in the onion slices. As it starts to soften, that deep, sweet smell drifts through the kitchen. It always makes me realize good things are coming. Let's slice up 4 white mushrooms. Today, I'm using champignons since they're easy to find and cook quickly. But use cremini, oyster mushrooms, or portobello if that's what you have. They all bring their own gorgeous texture and flavor. You could swap the mushrooms for ground meat if you're feeding a hungry crowd. But then we're talking comfort food on a whole new level. And maybe a nap after. Once the mushrooms have softened a bit, sprinkle them with a pinch of salt and a few grinds of black pepper. Stir everything together gently. The kitchen smells heavenly at this point. Warm, earthy, nutty. My husband usually comes in at this point and asks, "What smells so good?" Sometimes he is like a starving dog with sad eyes. Meanwhile, in a second saucepan, melt 2 tablespoons of butter over low. When it melts, whisk in 2 tablespoons of flour slowly. This is the start of a simple bechamel-type sauce. Not luxurious, but creamy and smooth. Stir and don't burn it. Pour in 500 milliliters of room temperature milk, little by little. Whisk constantly. It'll smooth out as it warms up. Now add in a pinch of salt, some grinds of black pepper, and just a half teaspoon of nutmeg. That touch of nutmeg is what gives it warmth and comfort. I always think of holiday dinners when I smell it. Let the sauce simmer gently on low heat, stirring all the time. It'll thicken slowly, turning smooth and creamy. Just be patient. This part makes all the difference. The mushrooms are cooked then, so we can set them aside for now. While the sauce is boiling, grate a good handful of your own favorite cheese. I'm using something mild and gooey. Anything that goes gooey will do. While we finish grating the cheese, I'll tell you, when my kids were little, they used to sneak pieces straight off the cutting board. I'd turn around and half the cheese would be gone. Now it's a family joke. I grate extra just in case. Now add the grated cheese to the warm sauce and stir gently until it melts. The texture turns silky and rich, and the smell, oh, it's pure comfort. Drizzle some olive oil into the baking dish and spread it around with a spoon, or just use your hands like I often do. It doesn't have to be perfect, just well coated. Now spoon a layer of that decadent cheese sauce in the bottom of the dish. Smooth it gently out to cover the whole surface. This will help keep everything moist and flavorful as it bakes. Kinda like wrapping the filling in a warm, cheesy blanket. Next comes a layer of the cooked potatoes. I like to lay them out gently, almost like building a little puzzle. It doesn't have to be perfect, just even enough so every bite gets a bit of that soft, comforting texture. Add a layer of the grated cheese, just to give it that gooey, melty flavor in between the layers. Then the broccoli. I like to do this slowly and place the pieces in very carefully. It looks a little more pretty in the finished dish when you serve it if you cut into it carefully. Do you serve your food neatly layered or just let it occur? I've done both, depending on what kind of day it's been. Now add a layer of those sautéed mushrooms. They're soft, juicy, and full of flavor from the onions and spices. I love how they add a little heartiness without making the dish too heavy. Now, just keep layering. A bit more sauce, the rest of the potatoes, some more cheese, and finish it off with the remaining broccoli and mushrooms. I like to end with a nice layer of sauce and a final sprinkle of cheese. It all bakes together into something really special. And while we're putting the finishing touches on this dish, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you won't miss any of my cozy, home-style recipes. Before we add the final layer, I just wanted to say something. All of my recipes on my channel are vegetarian. No meat, no fish. But don't let it mean they're not versatile. If you or your family members do eat meat, you can certainly make many of my recipes. Replace the mushrooms with ground meat, add in some chicken if you like. Just use the format as a reference and do what you'd like. I've had many more than a dozen people write to me and say they started paying attention to veggie concepts and ended up blending both ways in the house. I'm so happy. The concept is simple: home food that anyone can have. Now add the finishing touches: a last drizzle of sauce, some cheese grated on top, and this gem is off into the oven. Place the dish in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Let it bake for about 35 minutes until the top is golden and bubbling gently. That's when you know it's ready to bring everyone to the table. Golden, creamy, and warm on top. This recipe is the kind of meals that are like a hug in a plate. In our home, the pan doesn't last long. My husband always steals the second serving, but the children enjoy it just the same. Even better, it can be frozen. Just portion it out and then pop it in the oven when you need to heat something up. It rewrites well. The flavors all remain rich, and the texture is still creamy and comforting. It's great for busy days when you want to cook once and enjoy it twice. If you liked this recipe, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friend who loves vegetable stews, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.